All right, I'm Pat.
Hey, I'm Jeffrey,
We're back.
and we're sort of mid-conversation about the about instant replay.
Right.
And I would argue in that case, I think that part of the excitement of those calls, and obviously I'm not rooting for bad calls or anything like that, but it's stuff like that I think it makes the game. The human element is part of it.
Well, baseball's got you have limited times that you can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, football you got the challenge flag, but like everybody watches the fucking jumbotron, so it's a little bit different. I mean, you go to most baseball stadiums these days, it's got a jumbotron, but nobody really watches that. They watch it if something's close.
Yeah,
Afterwards.
it's not the same.
It's not the same. Yeah, no. Yeah, I don't know, man. Instant replay and challenges and stuff like that. I mean, so if you have that shit in your sport, you probably deserve it. So because like if it comes down to it, if your guys, your umps, and your refs fuck up enough, eventually people just get tired of that. So and like those are jobs that those are jobs that if you get in there, you're part of the club, man. So they don't like, oh, you really blew that call last week. We're gonna bust you down to Double A now. So
It takes a lot.
It takes a lot.
It takes a lot to get the bump out. But I mean, so let me put it this way. So I would argue that the indirect problem that this caused, right? So when you go out there and say like, all right, we have the capacity to look at every play at every moment, right?
Mhm.
And so we'll only use it for these times, right? So then the problem there becomes, all right, well, why don't you use it for everything, right?
oh yeah.
But this is my issue is because of that, I think what people expect, like the calls that are blown now, right, seem more egregious because we've implemented it in so many places, right?
Right.
And so the question would be, well, why don't you look at this? Why don't you have, in theory, what you could do basically is, let's take football for an example, okay? So if you have a game going, right, and you have multiple cameras, right? You have multiple cameras on this. Let's say you use one camera just for, it's the holding camera. And that camera is just going to spot the line, right? And what it's going to do is it's going to sit there and look exclusively for holding, right?
Okay.
And so you're not looking for anything because, I mean, how many times have you watched a play, they show you a replay, right? Guy goes on to complete a 30-yard pass
Right.
because one of his linemen gets away with a hold, right?
He's sometimes pretty egregious too.
Sometimes
yeah.
pretty egregiously. So here, that's my problem here is, all right, so if we've intruded on the game so much to say we can look at every component of this,
Yeah.
why exactly aren't you using this at all time, like live right there, like you see it, you see the hold, your job is to watch that camera, you hit the button, a little light comes up, right? That's a little indicator that says there's a hold on this play,
Yeah.
right? Or whatever it may be. Anything that you see. If you see, like, if you have somebody that's there in the backfield, right? If you have the cameras on there and you're watching that second half, you have somebody over there that sees basically like a push-off, you hit the button,
Yeah.
right? That's the thing is, because we've implemented it so much, we've lost the tolerance for any kind of
Yeah, that's true.
infraction
That's a
in the
good
game.
point. Yeah, I
right?
hadn't really thought about that, but yeah. It's like throw the flag.
Exactly.
Kind of thing, yeah.
Exactly. I don't think it's actually solving the disputes that people are having when it comes to this game was blown. Because then you turn around and say, like, well, when do you decide to call these things? When do you
Yeah.
decide to do this? Or you say, like, that is clearly defensive pass interference, but it wasn't called.
Right.
But we reviewed this and not this, even though you can look at it right now and settle that right here, right? Same thing goes baseball, hockey, anything like this. Is like, you make the call, you stand by it, unless you have, like... So I think football has a right in terms of scoring play, goes to replay. All right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That makes sense to me, right? That makes perfect sense to me. If it's gonna, take or basically put on or take away points off the board, Sure. That's a
Yeah, but I mean even plays that just result in a loss of down can eventually be tied to something like
Right,
that. Yeah.
right.
So it's just like, oh well, if we had converted, back in the second quarter on that 3 and 14, man, blah 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 blah. It's like, well, yeah. So,
yeah, and maybe to make up for it, if you say like, hey, we're only doing instant replay for this, right? Or I would also say you could also look at it to determine like, well, it's a scoring play, so like an extra point, something like that. If you're looking at, say, when the ball goes above the post.
Yeah, that should be easy, man. I don't know why the things don't have laser pointers on the top of
Great
them.
question.
Yeah,
But,
I have no idea. It's
yeah.
like you're not going to kick it a mile fucking high.
You know what? And what's funny is if you're going to do that, then you can actually bring them down a little bit.
Yeah, sure. That'd be fine.
But yeah, that's fine. But yeah, I guess that's my point here is, yeah, if you're going to do that, then you open yourself up to every mistake that is not called when you have the technology.
Yeah.
And so that lens for me, it's like, all right, well then just let them play. Let them play, and maybe to make up for it, give them one more red flag, right? So you have 3 instead of 2.
Yeah.
There's a questionable call, you can send that up and have it challenged, but the rest of the time, it's like, gotta trust the refs on this.
Yeah,
And then,
it's just their call. Yeah. No, that's a good point because, it does get overly litigious, and it really slows down the game, man. So like, see, baseball, you don't notice it as much because the challenge is like, it's a 30-second review. It's real fast.
because it's one transaction they're looking at.
It's one guy. They
Yes.
call upstairs, and the guy says this. So he's like, all right, he's out. So it's not this thing where we have the rules committee that you can see in the booth going through their D-ring binders there, man. So that's one of the nice things about baseball. It just doesn't have that many fucking rules.
No, and that's why the like we were talking, the litigiousness of it, where if this is the max amount of rules that you have,
Right.
then you bend them as far as they'll
Yeah, you
bend
do.
without breaking. Yeah.
Where at football, I mean, I don't even know the rules anymore, man. They change so often, and it's like every single year, it's like, well, let's try something, and then they roll
Wow.
it back or something. I mean, it's just moving to flag football someday, man. So
Well, Will told me he told me the new rules about kickoffs, and I forgot about it already. I can't remember.
I don't know either.
It was. He did say that as a result of this, there can be no more onside kicks.
Oh yeah, he was talking about that.
Yeah.
I don't think I was here for that one, but I remember him talking about that. Yeah. So we'll have to ask him for a refresher.
Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah.
It just seemed it just seemed odd. It seemed again. It's I don't know. I don't know what they're trying to accomplish, but whatever. It's their sport. They're gonna. It has nothing to do with me. I get it. When it comes down to it, I have one of two choices: watch or not.
Watch or not watch. Yeah.
Right.
So
And I will say that over time, my enthusiasm has gone down.
for football.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Most sports, to be fair, but I mean, not.
Oh, I still love baseball. So.
No, it's not that I don't love them. It's just watching. It's just I never really find the time, man. It's I don't know. I don't know if there's any particular reason that I can say this. I know for football, I had problems with it. I mean, there are things that I would do for football that have nothing to do with football in terms of making the sport more accessible. But that is not about the rules.
Yeah.
I would.
They tinker with football all the time, though.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they really do. So, the thing that got me kind of off the football thing was, well, I guess it was a combination of a couple different things. So, like team loyalty, I didn't really have much of that. And then it started to erode after a little while. My faith in Bronco Nation has been shaken.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah. So, See, like baseball, I just like watching baseball. I don't really give a fuck who's playing. So,
Sure,
you know,
yeah.
but like football is like one of those things where it's like, oh God, we're back in Arrowhead. Turn it off.
There's that, you know, and I will say I watched so much baseball and hockey when I was on the rig.
Yeah.
I don't want to say I'm burnt out on it, but I used to watch so much sports that I don't know, maybe kind of fried my
Yeah,
felt.
that's fair. Have you been watching the Olympics?
Some,
Yeah, okay.
yeah, some, but
I've been watching the highlights, man. That's about all I can get on YouTube. So.
highlights is fine. And it's just they haven't really hit the stride of the events that I like to watch yet.
Well, you like track and field, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so most of this again, it's like. So, what's her name? Ledecky. I watched her, like, fucking, you know, tear up
smoke 'em.
the swimming pool.
Yeah.
Like, even in 4 times speed, you're still waiting, like, a good, like, 5 beats before the next person,
Yeah.
you know, taps the end. And then you look at it as like, oh, shit, this was sped up.
Right, yeah. So,
Let alone, this is somebody doing, like, fucking, like, 28 lengths. I'm like, this is
That's
ridiculous.
crazy. Yeah, no, she's a beast.
So,
So-
but I'm not. I know some people love the swimming. I'll
love
watch,
swimming,
but it's
yeah.
not my thing.
No, I love that. Yeah. I like the gymnastics, but
I'm not a honk for it.
I'm
It's
not
cool
a
to
huge honk
watch,
for it.
but-
I think it's cool to watch. There's a couple of events that I like.
Yeah.
Like pommel horse is cool with the men, and then the vault with the ladies is cool. I could give two shits less about floor exercise. So even though I
Not
know that's
for
like
us.
the hardest one,
I'm not
So,
saying it's
yeah.
not. I think they require vastly different skills, but
they
that's
totally do.
totally
Yes,
fine.
yes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
'Cause when you come down to it, it's like you take 2 people. Like I'm gonna grab one of the floor exercises people, and then I'm gonna grab like LeBron James, and I'm gonna like tell her, I'm like, you dunk this basketball, and she's gonna say, oh no, I can't. And then like LeBron James is gonna like roll this ball over your body rhythmically, and he's gonna be like, oh no, I can't.
Yeah.
And so
well,
it's
it's like do the splits, and you'd be like, no, I can't. Yeah. He's like, that will kill me.
The skill sets are so vastly
Yeah.
different. I'm like, wow, this is cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think, look, man, we used to be able to say this shit like in the 80s, but there are some sports that are for boys, and there are some sports that are really for girls. And floor exercises, I'm sorry, man, it's a girl sport.
Oh, yeah. The men don't even do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a girl sport.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, you couldn't find a guy who could jump that high and twirl around in the air. That's not possible.
Well,
So-
you could, but he'd be ice skating
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
and
they could do it.
making boatloads more money.
Yeah, you get on the Disney on Ice racket.
Dude, ice
So-
skaters get paid. Like if you're in that echelon,
It's a very small clique, but
I
yes,
agree,
yeah.
but
There's
yes.
a very limited amount of people who can be professional ice skaters. So
yes.
yeah.
Like, I think the moment I was born, I think the doctor straight up said, this one's not going to
This one's not going to make it, man.
He just-
Yeah.
He looked at how, like, lumpy this thing was that came.
So it might have a future in wrestling.
He's just like, I can tell you 2 things about this lump here. It's like, not an ice skater, not a piano player.
Right. Yeah.
I'm quite
Right, yeah,
sorry.
not gonna happen. Yeah. Yeah, so I've just been watching highlights of that.
That's cool.
That's all
Yeah,
I can really get.
That's cool.
I did watch their opening ceremony thing.
Thoughts?
Yeah, it was so French, it was hilarious.
See, that's the thing is, I would be content to just write that off as French.
Yeah, it was ridiculously French.
I was like, the thing that got me is like, look, if you'd have just called it like it was,
Yeah, it would have
this-
been fine, man.
I would have
Yeah.
just written this off as any number of just like performance art things that the French do.
It was ridiculously French. So, and I didn't find it as offensive as Fox News wanted me to find it.
Not even close,
But
no.
the fact that they backpedaled away from it so quickly was dumb. So you're right. They should have just leaned into it and said, "Yeah, it was the Last Supper. What'd you think of it?" You know. So
But
yeah.
we said it's like we think, and check this out. Here's how you spin this. It's so easy to do. You just say we come from a nation of Catholics.
Yeah.
Right? Historically, Catholicism, Christianity has been disrespectful of certain types, and I wanted to put out something here that made everyone feel welcome.
Yeah,
Within the faith.
you would have been. That would have been good.
2 seconds.
2 seconds.
Hey, I understand if this may have come across to people the wrong way. I never meant any kind of disrespect for religion, but I just wanted everyone to know, Catholicism, it's for everyone, every shape and color.
Yeah, I don't even know how Catholic France is. So, I mean, I know like it's
not as Catholic as they used to be. But...
No, but I mean, so this is what the Catholics and the Huguenots there, right? So,
oh boy,
I know I'm going way back here.
1700s, no.
Something like maybe 1600s. Yeah, I don't know. Something you might be right. 1700s. They had a little fight. You know?
One of many. I mean, take your pick. There's lots of scraps going on over there.
There's always been Jews in France too. So yeah.
But not as many as you'd think.
No, not as many as you think. And there's a lot of They had that whole Dreyfus thing. So you know.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So go live on the island full of snakes. Here you go, buddy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But that's, if I recall, I mean, that was the major. It was still the prevailing Christian faith for quite some time.
I think for a very.
I think it
long
even
time.
still is, if I were to guess.
Yeah, I would be surprised if it wasn't. So, yeah. So yeah, you just come out there. Hey, man, this is French. You know, it's a Catholic nation. Blah blah blah. You know, we're just having some fun. You know, don't take it too serious. It's France.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, go out there. You say that in an accent. You say that it was meant for everyone. You say it's like this was about inclusion, and you will have some people whining about it. But then again, the whining is, at that point, it's get over yourself. When you take it the other direction and sort of, you know, handle it the way they are, it's like, all right, well, your complaints are valid.
Yeah.
This is sort of a slap in the face, because they then walked back and said, like, no, it's this. It's Dionysius. It's like, no, it's not.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
So you look how all those people are posed right there. It's a direct copy from the painting.
Well, I could sit there and say, okay, so I could say, all right, well, you guys have gone so much to the point. It's not just that you actually have put people in bunches of 3. Da Vinci deliberately made triangles.
Yeah.
And you've gone a little bit off that, but you know what you're doing.
I know what you're
Stop
doing.
lying.
Yeah, stop. Don't lie to me. Don't tell me my eyes are lying to me.
That's it. I mean, it's a work thing, right? It's a work thing. It's always been a work thing where it's like, come clean. You're just gonna make it worse on yourselves.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You had an employee that fucking, like, 2 seconds in that what's coming out of their mouth is a lie, and you want to stop them right there.
Yeah, it's like, dude, I know you're not sick. So just, if you don't want to come to work today and you want to burn sicker, let me know that. Don't lie to me. So, you know, it's fine. So
I don't think that's the thing. You shouldn't be at the point where the sick call is right. You don't.
We've all done it though.
We've done it.
Yeah, we've all
because
done
I thought that I used to have to do it.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, and I mean, if you do, you need a different job. You know. So yeah.
Well, I mean, there are sick days, and what you use them for, I don't care. I mean, that's
I never did either. As a boss, I didn't care. It was like, that's fine. You know, but like there were days where, you know, guys would call in sick because they knew it was going to be a busy day or something like that. It's like, fuck you. You know?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you no, but I'm going to give you shit about it. So, you slacker. So
I give you shit about it, or you may catch the side eye the next time around that I see you. Because, yeah, I didn't have to go through this a lot. Maybe you did with some of your stuff. I don't know. But I know that a lot of people, when they had their jobs, their earlier jobs, one of the days would be like inventory days.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about, and they ended up being long for everyone. And if
you'd have those shit days where you had to do chores that nobody wanted to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I worked in a warehouse, that was cycle count day. So
All right, so you know what I'm talking
yep,
about.
I gotta count all these fucking washers. So,
And if people call in sick on one of those days, because you're like, they tell you in advance, it's like, we need.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
you universally catch shit from everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Vacation, different story. But
vacay's
sometimes,
vacay, man.
sometimes I know in some jobs they wouldn't let you take vacation on days like that.
I know. Yeah. No, that's a big no-no, man. When you see a place where they're restricting like the weeks that you can take vacation and stuff like that, it's like, well, how did you dish out vacation around here? It's like by seniority, and well, okay, so we're gonna do a vacation bid, and if he bids that week, you should get it. So what are you doing blacking out weeks? That's bullshit. So that's a lack of planning on your part as a manager. So
Dude, I mean, if your office is small enough where
if it's a 5-person operation, sure. So I get it.
if somebody says, I want to take vacation this week, it's like, buddy, you know that.
Right. It's closeout week, man. Yeah.
Well, not necessarily closeout week, but like, I never had a problem with places where they're like, hey, you can't take vacation this week. It's like, why? It's like, because we already have 2 guys on. We had 2 guys on.
Well, that's fine. Yeah, that's
makes perfect sense to me.
yeah. No, if someone else beats you to it, that's fine.
Yeah.
So that's not bad management. That's just you don't have seniority, man. You're not gonna be able to hold that week. So yeah.
Right.
Sorry, man. Those are rules. You get your vacation in February.
Or, you know, if it's first come, first serve, and they say like, hey, I requested it first, I already approved it, so it is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, there were places like, all right, well, we can't have you take off, like, nobody gets vacation the week before Thanksgiving, nobody gets vacation,
Don't be taking Fridays off.
don't be taking Fridays off, don't be taking Mondays off.
Yeah. No, that's bullshit when you see people do that.
Because places that were big enough to do that, the thing should be, it's like, well, then you need to put more people here on Mondays.
Yeah, exactly.
And Fridays.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Scheduling is a lost art, Jeff. So,
Is it?
It really is. Some people are really bad at it.
Why?
What
happened to scheduling?
I don't know. So, yeah, like, I have no idea, man. It's just, I see it all the time. People are getting overscheduled or underscheduled. You walk into a place, and you can tell when somebody doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. Because, you go to the counter, the lines are huge, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or you'll go to the counter and you're the only person there and there are 5 people that are waiting on you. It's like, yeah, you guys, come on, man. So I see that in restaurants all the time. It's like, man, that girl is so busy right now. So she's got like 10 tables right now. So, and then I see 3 people over there at the hostess stand fucking around. It's like, come on, man. Promote one of those people. Get them out here. So...
Yeah, I understand that, and I understand. Yeah. Well, either that or promote one of them or fire one of them and get another. Because I know that in some places, like, hostess is a job that's sort of saved for people's daughters. Because I know that some places you can't waitress until you're 18
or 21.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I know. I think
I think here it's 18. You can actually serve alcohol if you're under 21.
I think you're right.
Yeah. But I don't think you can bartend. I think you're
absolutely right on that.
I think you can serve. Sure. I think you can serve as cocktail, something like that, or you can wait tables and deliver wine, whatever. But I don't think you can bartend until you're 21. I don't know. I'll ask my bartender.
There you go.
He would know.
Yeah, but I know that historically, a lot of times your bartenders look like they're 16 because they are 16, and
sometimes, yeah. So
yeah. And that's because I think that's the only place they can work.
Oh, you mean your hostess?
Hostess,
yeah. Yeah, no, that's definitely true. So,
and that's where a lot of the you're like, well, how'd you get this job? It's like, well, I'm a boss's daughter. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
I get
sense.
it. Yeah.
Totally makes sense.
We need a hostess. So, but yeah, if you have 3 of them and one per, server, you can let a hostess go, or. And I won't tell anybody, I promise. It's like, it's cool if the hostess actually goes over there and does a little bit of, like, waitressing.
Yeah, or go wash dishes or something. Or whatever.
Or even just, like, get in there and, like, go grab their drinks.
Yeah. So you can do refreshments.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm not. I don't know what it is, man. So I know a lot of places are struggling hiring a lot. So it is not easy. So, to find people who are, reliable and consistent. And I know that's a very like, well, they don't want to work kind of argument. But the more that I actually talk to people who are in industry right now, the more I'm buying that, man. And so, it's hard.
Well, it's hard, and this is sort of contrary to the rosy picture that they like to put as far as like employment. Look, man, a lot of places have turned to like part-timers. A lot.
Oh yeah, no, that's been going on for years though, man.
Like it's gotten way worse.
Yeah, especially in like certain service
Places like
industries.
California and
Oh, that doesn't surprise me at all. So, like if you go in there and you start imposing different restrictions on how much you can pay people and stuff like that, I mean, the businesses will find a way to actually make their bottom line. So,
Yes.
I mean that's what a business does. That is its function.
Even if making that bottom line means that sometimes you don't pay taxes.
Well, then you get busted eventually, but yeah.
It comes back to get you.
It does come back to get you.
But they
yeah.
will make a bottom line.
They will make a bottom line, or it'll shut down. So that's how that works.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, we saw that with Obamacare. As soon as they said, well, anybody over 30 hours a week, you had to start offering health benefits. We saw a lot of people who got their hours cut to 29 and a half hours.
29 and a half.
29 and a half
28
hours.
was the most common one I saw.
28, yeah. So, well, you got to give yourself a little wiggle room there, I guess. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
So, but yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot of people who are stitching together multiple part-time jobs, but it's not more than it used to be. People have been saying that. That's actually not true. When we were kids, there were a lot more people who were working 2 jobs than there are today. So, I mean, my dad had 2 jobs. My mom had 2 jobs for a little while. And so there was a lot more of that back then. We just got used to it. Like 2010s, 2000s, everybody had 1 job. So, but prior to that, a lot of people had multiple jobs. So,
See,
I
that's
did
not
have
good
3
news.
jobs at one point in time.
That's not good news, though.
Oh, no, it was fine. He did it so he could get ahead. So
No. If we'd gotten to a point where 1 job was fine,
yeah,
it's not good that we're going back to that.
yeah, no, maybe not. Well, and work is kind of changing a little bit too, man.
I agree.
So yeah, there's a lot of people they don't want to do a 9 to 5 gig. So
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I'm going to stitch together 3 gigs that let me choose my days off, rather than have the boss tell me, well, you're the junior guy, you get Monday, Tuesday off. You're going to be here like graveyards, buddy.
Right.
So I saw this. This was that bald guy who walks around and interviews people. You pointed me out to him a while ago. He went to like Appalachia and stuff like that. And
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I couldn't tell you his name, but
I
yeah.
can't tell you his
Yeah.
name either. He had a great one the other day where he's walking around like Pittsburgh in that area. Okay, and he's like, he's like, well, I came here thinking that this was going to be an absolute, this looked like someone dropped a bomb on it.
Yeah, you fucking walk by and it's like, oh, there's Bruce Springsteen singing about how shitty it is here. Yeah.
And to be fair, there are parts of it that are exceptionally shitty.
Yes.
Okay, but then he's going around with this guy who's a steel mill worker, and he's like, so all the steel mills left? He's like, no. He's like, they're still here. He's like, well, it's all automatic now, and robotic. He's like, no, I can give you a job tomorrow for $90,000 a year. So, and I could give it to anybody in this town. So we have openings. We have to recruit from outside of the state. So and it just kind of like was like, wait, what? And then he started going through it. He's like, yes. So this is a unionized shop. It's 12 hours on, 12 hours off. Okay, 1 week on, 1 week off. I get half my year off, and I can't get people to apply for this job. So because nobody wants to work a 12-hour shift.
I've worked 12.
I know, they're fine, man.
I mean-
if they got a whole fucking week off, I mean, I might go do that, man.
No, man, that's straight up, man. That was contract DD schedules.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, shit, when I worked on a railroad, I was on 12-hour shifts, but I was 12 days on, 2 days off.
Bro,
That was bullshit.
the 2 weeks on, 1 off, or 4 weeks on, 2 off was too tough for me.
Yeah, no, yeah.
But 12 and 2
12
is-
and 2, it's like, what do you do
something
on your
else,
weekend? You fucking sleep, and maybe cut your grass, man. You know,
Fucking days must have melted by like months.
They were
must
like
have
blocks.
like disintegrated.
Yeah, it was just like after a while, you don't even scratch them off the calendar, you know, because it just gets depressed. But yeah, but so this guy's working basically 6 months out of the year.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean a quarter of it because he's 12 on, 12 off.
Yeah.
You know, hours wise. But then if you work a week and then you're off a week, that's fantastic. So, you know, and it was like, yeah, it's full benefits, and you know, he's like, we got our own pension plan and all this stuff, and he's like, we have to try and get people from overseas to come here and work. He's like, because the people around here, I mean, you know, it's like if you want a job in the mill, you've already got it. So yeah, he's like, and so yeah, we do.
I presume that there's something where it's like you gotta piss clean.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah, but you know, it's one of those things where if you want that job, you can have it. So, you know, but he's just like, and that blew my mind. And so, sure enough,
I'd be doing that job.
dude, I would totally be doing that job. And so, sure enough, man, I started reaching out. I saw that it was like last week.
Yeah.
And I know some people who work at the mill down in Pueblo, and I was asking them, and they were like, yeah, that's exactly what's going on. I was like, you got to be fucking kidding. He's like, you got jobs right now? And they're like, yep. It's like,
are you asking? Because we need help.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I was like, you got to be kidding me, man. So
These are the same people like, I haven't been able to take a vacation in 6 months because we can't keep a guy on.
yeah, that's exactly what they say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, they say, well, they're paying me like I got enough overtime where I got a truck. You know?
Bro, you know what's funny is
Yeah.
I worked with guys. This is like Tyrell on this one. Like, he was doing this as a DD at like. His whole thing, like, I know guys that would take that job and in the week off would be driving for Grubhub.
Yeah. I've known people.
I fucking
like
guarantee it.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
guys that it's
Just like no,
for sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sometimes you meet people like that who are a little bit dedicated, you know, and they're like, you know what, I really don't like working, so I'm gonna do as much of it as I can. And then I'm gonna do none of it.
Hey man,
So,
that's a theory. I'm not gonna fight you on that if that's your
Oh, that's not me, but I know people like that.
Oh yeah. If that's your thesis, man, go with it. I can't do it.
No, me neither.
You know, but at the same time, if that's how you roll,
Have at it.
yeah, no problems whatsoever. Yeah.
But no, and so that kind of and that tracks, man. I mean, like I have some students who are extremely hard workers. They're going to be very successful, probably very quickly.
Yeah.
So, and then I have others who are just, you know, it's just you say, well, you know, like normal work week is 40 hours. You're like 40 hours, like in a week. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, that's like 8 hours, 5 days a week. I'm like, yeah.
Go on.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, this is normal. So it doesn't register, man. So that's I don't know. I mean, like one of the many of like effects of COVID bucks, I think that one's the most dangerous. So yeah, I think that one's the most dangerous. But yeah, eventually you're gonna run out of money, man, or you're gonna have a situation where you're gonna want something, and you're gonna know someone who got that thing because they worked for it. So you're gonna come around, you know, or you're not. And so, you know,
well, this is the
you can argue for rent control.
I'm not going to say that. Those are
This is a blasphemy.
those words don't even feel right coming my mouth. I mean, I can barely form the syllables. But the I would argue that yes, COVID did expose some things, and you and I talked about this at the time. Where, hey, listen, COVID exposed like what the minimum amount of staff is that you can use to keep the place running.
Yeah.
Right. That's case number one. Case number two is Twitter. Is you fired 80% of the people and the place runs just fine. How's that possible?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a friends and family project.
It most certainly was. It's like the fucking like T-Mobile My Faves 5 from like 1998.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's. I mean, so yeah. If you learn that, okay, so this is what the company needs. And what's interesting about that here is, like, I'm sure you can probably detail me more on this here about the, like, the tech sector is shedding jobs, like,
they're changing.
a husky in summer.
Yeah, well, They're becoming more distributed, that I've noticed. So they're not all concentrated in two places in the United States. So, there's a lot of individual companies now, especially, like, I'm curious what this CrowdStrike thing is going to do. So I'll see if actually some of these organizations, like, actually move towards more decentralized systems, which will require techies to not be in fucking Silicon Valley. They might be in Atlanta, or whatever. So, in fact, Delta Airlines, they are suing the fuck out of.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I did see that. That was a pretty sizable lawsuit.
Well, William and I were talking about that last time. He was like, "Oh, well, there's a thing in there." I was like, "Well, you can't waive your own liability, so we'll just wait and see." Like, you can put whatever the fuck you want in that contract, but
let me tell you what it doesn't supersede.
Yeah. So it doesn't supersede the law.
Well, because that's the rule. Is it's like federal, then state. This can't overrule that. Then state goes to contracts, and this can't overrule that or that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So but I mean, like, but your tech hub, which has been dominant since what? Like, I'm going to call it 1985. Cupertino and Redmond. Where those were the meccas you wanted to go work, and then when Google came along and set up shop in San Francisco, it's like, okay, so this is the place you go. I don't think that's necessarily true.
No, hold on. All right, so Cupertino was not big in 1985.
No, that's true.
They were getting their clocks cleaned.
Yeah, but it was still a darling company. So
darling, but not with that many employees.
No, that's fine. Yeah,
well, not especially not so much to make that a big area, but San Francisco, the Bay Area for sure.
Well, yeah, but Apple was one of your original tech companies in that area. So, because you had them, you had Hewlett-Packard, and then there was another big one. Dell was right there. There were a couple.
Yeah. There were. Yeah.
Compaq. Well, those are just computer manufacturers, So, but then of course Microsoft's always been in Washington, so.
Yeah.
And that's where Amazon set up. So there you go. And so I don't know if that's necessarily true anymore, man. So, like, COVID did teach us one of those things is that, like, a lot of those jobs, the information-based jobs, they do not need to be location-specific.
Nope.
So no matter how much Elon Musk wants it to be. So,
Well, he's moving his shit to Texas. So
is he moving Twitter to Texas?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
My understanding is...
I just saw that he was moving Tesla.
I thought...
The Tesla HQ. So
I thought that he was moving that to Texas as well. I thought he got put up with something, yes.
He might. I mean, he's got an empty building in downtown San Francisco. So it's surrounded by refugees.
I don't know. I presume he's renting that building.
I don't know.
Because if I owned it, I would immediately take my business out of it and just rent it to other people. But that's...
He might be. I don't know.
I have no idea. I don't know if you... I doubt you buy down there. I think those guys have a good thing going on, and they're going to just keep leasing it out to people, would be my guess. But, yeah, look...
he had a poll the other day. He wanted to change the name back to Twitter. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah, no, he put that out. Yeah. I thought you followed him, so...
I do, but that doesn't mean, like... That dude tweets a lot. You'd be surprised.
Yeah, okay.
And most of it is not... half of his tweets are one-word responses.
Oh, okay.
Right?
I don't follow.
Half of his things are either going to be an exclamation mark where he's going to say, like, interesting, or it's just going to be like, whoa. ... Yeah. I suppose he's civilized, but I don't see many of those. But yeah, a lot of it is just, like, interesting, or...
Okay.
Yeah. Or occasionally, depending on who tweets at him, I'll look at it.
Oh, okay.
Which is... I mean, that's the thing, is they put out the numbers today, right? And I can remember, so I was there at the wailing and gnashing days. I was there at the crybabies. I was there when every piss baby laptop writer was saying this is the end. It's like, you've got nothing, blah, blah, blah. Your shit's going to be dead within a week. I was there.
We're all going to Mastodon.
Didn't see you there. Sure as shit didn't see you on Threads. Does
Threads even still exist?
It does.
Okay.
It putters along. So, like, Threads would be... Threads, in terms of what it does, right? I can't even give it the credit. Like, you ever go to a restaurant and you're like, man, I love this place, but I can't tell anybody about it because then it's going to get busy. But if I don't tell anybody about it,
it's going to go to
broke,
belly up. Yeah,
right?
It's Rocco's. Damn it!
Threads. If you look at it and say like, wow, you guys have a whole lot of good stuff here. It's like, why is nobody in your restaurant?
Yeah.
Right. And it's not just a word of mouth thing. It's like, okay, so the thing is, our restaurant is the same as this restaurant. It's like, really? Okay. I say, yeah, we copied everything about it. It's like, okay, great. Like, from top to bottom, we copied everything about it. It's like, all right, so are your prices cheaper? It's like, well, no, it's free. Actually, it's whatever. It's like, the only difference is, like, when you come in here and you eat at our restaurant, we are doing, like, the business card and the fishbowl thing times 1 million.
Yeah, got it.
And so they said, like, all right, so if all things are the same and you just harvest the shit out of our data, we'd rather not use your product, right? So that's ultimately what it is, because ultimately it was like feature for feature. It's like, we're going to try and duplicate this. So there's that, but they said this place they would be dead, but the numbers came out here, and fucking engagement, unique users, everything, like Twitter was whooping them.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that.
And that's funny because like a year ago they were supposed to be dead.
Yeah, no, I saw a lot of people, even guys that I follow. So I follow quite a few lefties, you know, just to kind of keep tabs on you got to know where the children are.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So otherwise you're going to get into trouble.
Yeah.
And like a lot of them, even some of the ones that I respect. Well, fuck this. We're going over Threads. We're going to Mastodon. I had one guy who completely went off Twitter and went over to Mastodon and just was basically speaking into the dead air of his basement.
That's the thing.
He came back. Twitter is like, yeah, I was wrong about that. So
yeah, the place
like there's nobody there to talk to.
Nope,
so,
same thing. The same thing with Blue Sky. I mean, it's the same thing. Is
I'm surprised Donald Trump isn't back on it. Is he just that fucking
no?
stubborn?
He's got his joint, man, and that's just how it goes.
But nobody's on that. So
well, here's the thing: is
I mean, I see stories about what he said on it, but those are definitely handpicked. So nobody's reporting every single thing that he says. There might be an echo feed that goes on to Twitter.
Basically, it because he has there's a select. I don't want to even say it like a select gang. There's a surprising amount of crossover between the two, so people will go ahead and basically repost on his behalf. Which I don't know. His account's been reinstated. He's certainly welcome to come over. But
yeah, but his last tweet is like January 7th.
Yeah, he doesn't use it.
He
doesn't use it. Because and listen, I get it. He's like, this was the platform I launched because of what happened with
but that
Twitter.
platform dies with him. So
but it's making him money.
on the stock market. I mean,
It's still money.
Yeah, I guess, but that's how Twitter was making its money before. It's not actually charging for anything back in the day, and so it was just like, oh, our stock price went up, so we can make money. That would prove to be unsustainable in the long run. So,
well, all right. So what it has going on for it here is it has over there. There are no questions about like. So if you're going to advertise, I don't know, fucking right-wing coffee or whatever. I don't know whatever.
Black Rifle Coffee. I know that one.
Yeah, but those guys are turds, if I recall.
Those guys are kind of
if I recall, those guys ended up being.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, if I recall, there was something about those guys that didn't wash. But if you advertise over there, you know what you're getting.
Yeah, I get that.
Right.
Yeah. I just don't. I mean, there's a lot of like DJT kind of like entities out there that are not going to outlive him. So like his I mean, yeah, I think that's probably one of them.
Yeah.
So I mean, unless like somebody else moved, because like he couldn't even get Joe Rogan to go over there. So I mean, Tucker's over there, but nobody gives a fuck. I mean, you know,
The people over there do.
the people
But
over there
as
do.
far
But,
as like the average person, it's
yeah, but I mean, you know, it's just like any group that it's just like the opposite of Twitter. You know, it's like Mastodon or something like that. I mean, if all you're doing is barking at people who bark along with you, eventually you get bored of that. And so,
Yep.
you know.
Yep.
So I don't know. I'm kind of surprised that he hasn't made the move. Maybe he will. I don't know, but that'd be an admission of defeat, and I don't think he's capable of that. So
No, the thing that he actually got on was TikTok. So
he is on TikTok. TikTok is, I mean, the amount of like, oh my God, you know, Kamala Harris is blowing up TikTok. It's like, look at the view count, man. It's like, you guys don't know what the fuck you're talking
this
about.
is like the phoniest manufactured shit I have ever seen in my life.
I don't know how manufactured it, man. It's just it's a lot of hope. So, you know, and it's just, I mean, if you look at like even today, I was watching so like I subscribe. What is it? I subscribe to The Hill. So
Okay,
which
yeah.
is fine.
Yeah,
I mean,
fine.
it's got its thing. It's not as insufferable as Politico.
No, it's not. There's very little dirtbag in The Hill.
There's a little bit. There's some dirtbaggery. So
Little man, the names that I would come up here when I the ones I was associated with like dirtbag.
the dirtbag left.
At least there used to be like an honesty to that I could respect, but
It's still out there.
it's still out there. But the people who are in it, like again, it's just another. You guys have let fucking like infiltrators ruin so many of your cool spots,
There is some of that, yeah.
and you've let yourself be like represented by the worst, but like people that don't.
Well, give me names. Who are you talking about here?
Okay, so I mean,
on the from the Hill.
no, not from The Hill.
Oh.
No, that's what I'm saying. That they seem relatively clean. The guys that I would associate out there, you know, most of those guys like are in the Post. Like that's the thing. Like your Taylor Lawrence is total dirtbag. That's at the Washington Post.
Yeah,
not at the Hill.
I don't even read that anymore. So,
It's insufferable.
well, and it was expensive, so I stopped reading it. So I did read that for a couple of years. I mean, but
It was fine, but yeah,
You get some really good national security stories out of that, but just because it's in Washington. So, but yeah.
fair enough. But
But I didn't really.
yeah.
I didn't really. I stayed away from the opinion page. So, like I do with most newspapers, like New York Times, I can't even. You can't even go near their opinion page without getting comes some kind of schmutz on you.
Right.
So, yeah, you know,
I don't feel good, man.
I don't feel good. Yeah,
This is messed up.
This is messed up. I need to lay down.
I don't know what I caught.
Yeah. It's got my stomach turning.
Yeah, stomach hurts and I feel sticky.
Sticky.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, like some of those guys, like where was I going with that? Oh, I was watching Trump's like thing. I think is he in Minnesota today or he's back in Pennsylvania?
He's in Pennsylvania.
There we go.
Yeah.
He was in Pennsylvania. And I mean, so like I've seen enough of his rallies where I know all his taglines now.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
kind of like, I don't really need to watch this because I know what he's going to say, kind of thing. But just the view count compared to the one that Harris did in Atlanta the other day was like 5-1. So, and that's just on the YouTube feed. In The Hill, which I would actually argue is a little bit more lefty than anything. So, I mean, it's not like it's not offensively so. It's just it's like I know the kind of people who frequent here. They're going to be normie libs, so which is fine. So, but like his speeches are getting 5 times the view counts. I mean, that's not insignificant, man. And then you go over to the TikTok or look at the YouTube Shorts. My Shorts feed is clogged with Donald Trump giving people $5 bills or buying everybody milkshakes and stuff.
But that being said, like
That thing does feed its own ass. Yeah, I get it.
But every outlet out there, like Google, is pushing Kamala Harris as hard as possible.
I can't.
mean, this is the
their news app is unusable right now, man. Because I sit there and even if I do, I'm into the assassination attempt. All right, so I've been keeping on top of that motherfucker. Like, I tailgated. There it is. I'm not losing it, man.
you got the grill and the bratwurst. Like, and you're like calling people and saying, "Bro, you hungry? Come on over, get a sausage, man. We got some talking to do."
Yeah.
you know why? You know why? Because fucking, and this is the thing, is despite how many events are there to, like, bury it, that is still, like, the biggest fucking piece of news that has happened in the past year and a half. Like, legitimately, in terms of, I would say so. Like, I would...
Since when? Since Ukraine?
I would say so.
No, I'd say October 7th is a big deal.
Fine.
Yeah.
That's I'll give you that. But I mean, this, to me, this supersedes, like, the Biden, not resignation, but...
the abduction of Joe Biden? I don't know. That one's pretty close to number 2 for me. That one's going to be left to the historians, though, man. There are things that are unknowable right now.
Someday,
that will come out.
A couple of very brave people will speak out. And they will tell some stories.
Hunter Biden will tell them. So, yeah. So there you go, man. So
they'll tell some stories. I mean, dude, we are in the middle of... I put odds at like 50-50 that Venezuela breaks out in total civil war.
That, I have not been following that, but that has been bookmarked for future research. So, and I saw one thing from Glenn Greenwald come out on that, and immediately it was like, oh yeah, of course it's an American plot. So, all right, it must be serious if you're talking about it, buddy. So I gotta use him to bird dog out shit. But
all right, fair enough,
but I don't trust what he has to say about it. So, well, I do trust what he has to say. I just know what he's gonna say about it. There we go.
Right.
So that's different. So, but yeah, I've been tailgating the shooting thing, and if I go to the Google newsstand and put in, you know, Pennsylvania shooting, Donald Trump assassination, stuff like that, I get Kamala Harris articles.
Yes, you do.
And it's like, what the fuck? It's like, that's not what I asked for, Google. So, but then I just, I'm like, okay, well, I'll just use Google Prime, you know, to go find this shit myself, man. So, yeah, and there's been a couple, like, The Guardian's been on top of that shit, even though that's a rag. So, that's full of bad people. So, yeah. So the New York Post has been on it with actually really good coverage. So
the New York Post, again, it's something that
if you tickle them in the right way, they do a good job. So if you don't tickle them in the right way, they are the shittiest rag in America.
This is what I'm saying is there's a certain amount of, like, we've talked about it. There's a certain amount of, like, journalistic crapitude that I used to, like, rely on them for, right? And They used to be the newspaper that would have picture, gaudy headline. Gaudily offensive headline, right?
Right.
If the one that I'll always stick with, of course, is Jared Fogel's "Enjoy Your Foot Long in Jail."
Right.
And you're like, you know, this. I don't know, like, what book or, like, skull or whatever it is that you're supposed to swear upon as a journalist when you graduate, where it's just like, I will not write this bullshit. Like, the Post guys are like non-union, foreign, like skirting the rules, guys over there. But in terms of actually getting in there and saying, like, we're gonna do some journalism because there's some shit worth digging up, they dig.
They do. They've done a pretty good job of that. CNN has done a good job on that one, surprisingly. So
way better than they used to. I
think they figured out that their future is not in the MSNBC realm. So they know that they can't get access. And that's the other thing is, like, I didn't even know this, and this was actually on the radio the other day. They were actually talking about the number of interviews that Harris has done over the years, and she has done none for CNN ever. And, you know, it was kind of like one of those things. Is like, oh, so you pitched to the crowd that, okay, got it.
Yes.
You know, you can't even go over to CNN and do an interview there. She had like 3 for ABC. So, and the rest are all MSNBC and NBC. Yeah. And it's like, okay, so you got your favorite there. And so CNN's going to have to tack a little bit, you know? So, and I think, with the coverage of the shooting, they've done a pretty good job of that. So, and if you go to their website, they actually do a pretty good job of, like, following both candidates around. So, you know, if you go to, like, NBC, it's like Orange Man speaks somewhere. Not your business.
No.
It's naked. It's hilarious. So, but, you know, So, but yeah, like the Google, you can tell the Google News app is in the tank now. So, and so it's basically become unusable, which is fine. I can get around it. That's just the thing that's on my phone. So,
I understand, but that being said, like, so when I was on that long car ride, and I was driving to Portland and back, I was thinking about the media because I mean this was like you have to remember that the shooting hadn't even happened at that point.
Yeah.
Right. This was right around the time of Biden's step down or step away from seeking re-election.
Did that happen before the shooting or after? That was after.
It was.
That was after. Like it was the weekend after that he stepped.
No, it was the debate. It was so the debate had happened, and we were in the quagmire of like, who is this old man that's on stage, and how are we all so buffaloed? Whereas, again, some of us knew, some of us like the media outlets that you knew would be saying like, he's too old to govern, he's gone. But the other 65% were over there saying like, fit as a fiddle. So
you did see a lot of that.
Yes,
a lot of that, even from people like, and some of those folks like Joe Scarborough turned on him in like 24 hours. So when George Clooney did the same thing.
Yes.
So he almost got his show yanked because of that. So, which is hilarious. It's like interior, castle, like it's like Kremlin politics. Yeah.
And so I was thinking like, if I had some degree of control over this, I was like, is there any way that I could reform journalism in a way that maintained the absolute necessity for free speech, right? But also was a way to delineate basically bullshit journalism from actual journalism. And the only thing I could think of, and let me run this idea by you here, okay? Now, again, I'm not here to argue the full feasibility of this. This is fine, all right? This is just the idea is, all right, so let's take our legacy media, or even right now, even if it's not legacy, the established places that you have been around for some time, right? Not just people that have just popped up. You say, all right, so what we really want to do is we want to separate news from reporting from opinion, right?
Yeah.
Now, what I'm saying here is, all right, so if there has to be some kind of like oversight board, right? Basically like a journalistic board, and this is not something where they have the ability to censor or anything like this. This is just basically a ethics and reporting board, okay? And these are guys that have the ability to basically give you your stamp, your seal.
So like the FCC.
Tell me how.
Well, that's what they do, isn't it? They're the ones who actually control the airwaves.
But how do they explain how that's the same thing?
I don't know. I don't know exactly what they do. So
Okay, so all right.
Yeah.
Well,
but I know they're the ones who had the fair. What is it? They had the whole thing where it's like, if you want to do this, you have to actually, if you want access to, like Channel 5 or whatever, you actually. This is the thing that Fox got around by doing cable news. So, because prior to Fox and cable news, it actually was ABC, NBC, CBS, who were like straight down the middle. They do their reporting because otherwise they lose their license.
Well, this is
So-
okay. So all right. So
I don't know how that works, but
I don't either. So
but I know cable's the thing that fucked that up.
All right.
So, yeah.
But see, and what I was trying to do was I was trying to think of a way that still allows that here and still gives it merit. So all right. So you have this board here that's dedicated to the purpose. Like your sole purpose is to basically respect unbiased reporting. Okay. And so this is how you can give this to journalists and you can give this to publications, right? So let's take the Times, for example, okay? And the reporters therein, okay? So if you hire people that have been stamped by this and your publication is certified with this, that you agree to follow these rules, okay? If you bring people in and you're found not to adhere to these guidelines, right? These are people that can rescind your stamp. And with
So it's basically a license to operate as a journalist.
no,
Let's
hold on,
different about
hold on. Let me.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Sorry.
so they can pull it away from you, right? But if you're running with a journalist that doesn't have that certification, right? That's something where, like, let's say that you do this and you make a mistake, okay? The penalty for me, like, is like, all right, so if you do this, right, then as a publication, you have to, like, on your front page, you have to print your retraction right there.
Yeah, okay.
Right? Now, the other thing is, I don't want this to be a full licensure thing because there's a lot of stuff that needs to be dug into by people that essentially can't. People that do need, like, information will come out because people are partisan, right? We're talking about, like, the citizen journalist, okay? Cool, no problem.
Yeah.
You have that, you can still report, but people know that because you don't have that stamp, right?
Right.
I need to take what you say with an absolute grain of salt.
Yeah, no,
right?
yeah, okay.
And, you know, this goes into rules about vetting. It goes into rules about, you know, that kind of stuff. And that way you get both sides of it. If you buy the Times and you look into the reporting section, okay, you can count on this to be unbiased reporting. However, your editorial page, absolutely go nuts.
Yeah, and,
Go nuts.
yeah,
Absolutely.
they've done that for years.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, absolutely go nuts. But this is something where you can at least say, like, all right, why do I buy this paper? Oh, because it has the reporting stamp on it, or not.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the closest thing I can think of. Now, I don't think that anybody would agree to it, but I was like,
Oh, it's probably closer than you think. So, you know.
something that separates, like, why have a major news institution if you...
Well, I mean, there's just a couple things that are working against that, but I think there's a lot more working for it. So, I mean, if you look at it like equate like journalism to car sales. Okay, so how did you used to buy a car? So
How far back?
let's go back to the 1940s. So who do you get your car from?
I presume a dealership, but I don't know.
Yeah, and the dealer is licensed by to deal with the manufacturer. All right. So
Were they pretty much single manufacturer dealerships back then? or-
yes,
Okay.
exactly. So you had a Mercury one, you had a Lincoln one.
Okay.
You didn't have Ford Lincoln Mercury. You know? So you had a guy.
Thunder Cougar Falconberg.
Yeah, Thunder Cooper Falconberg. So I forgot about that.
Okay, so basically they were all authorized.
Authorized dealers that could get you, I mean, they had access to the product, okay? And
Okay,
so,
okay.
you know, and then so there was a lot of companies out there, so there's a lot of healthy competition. Between them, over time, they started to consolidate, and then you started getting Ford, Lincoln, Mercury, Cooper, Falconberg, you know, right? Okay, because they didn't want to junk any of the brands because they had brand loyal people for each one of those, okay?
Okay.
So, but after a while, you know, like back in the day, you didn't buy used cars because they were shitty, okay? And so they would fall apart after, you know, a couple of years. And so you had to do this, you know, on a regular basis, all right? And so it's only after the introduction of used cars out there that you start getting the, you know, the guy in the plaid suit kind of like, you know,
Right.
the guy that you know he's not actually one of those guys, yeah.
This is the era of Crazy Eddie, and
Yeah, right.
yeah, his prices were so low he actually was insane.
He actually was
Yeah.
insane. Yes, exactly, and it was actually like a disposal set, you know? Yeah. Where worthless cars go. Yeah, I remember. So, but yeah, so but that's kind of the point. And then so like what actually happened after a little while was you started getting services out there. The most famous one being Kelley Blue Book. So
okay.
it was like, hey, you know, you're gonna get you if you don't know what you're talking about, you're gonna get ripped off. Okay, and so we can establish, or Consumers Reports is another example of, you know, where you can establish a little bit of authority in there, and that's basically like the Better Business Bureau and stuff like that. They all kind of serve as non-governmental regulatory bodies, okay, that carry a market seal. If you could do something like that with journalism, I'm sure it'd be great. So you know, where it'd be like, hey, let's. Okay, so we're gonna tally up, you know, your top 500 journalists in the United States, and we're gonna rank them on this and stuff, and then you know after a little bit of like maybe effort, I mean the Times is gonna say, oh yeah, you're gonna put our A+ guy up there. It would take a generation for this to actually work, but eventually, yeah, people were like, no, I don't read B tier shit. Yeah. So you could probably do that. Like I think like the if you want to go the governmental side, which like I know like steps on a lot of like First Amendment toes, but you can you can make the federal government follow the Constitution very easily. So it's a lot easier to discipline it as an entity when it violates constitutional norms than it is to discipline like Apple. So
yes,
and so you could do something
Okay,
with the FTC where it's like, hey, this is your journalist or this is license. So you got to be actually licensed and registered in order to actually be able to report on certain types of stories. And so like if you want an international press pass, so you want to go to Jerusalem or something, you got to be A tier, P tier, something like that. But if you're just a columnist, you write an opinion piece every single week. I'm not sending you to fucking, you're not going to be embedded with the military unit.
Well, that's
kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you're looking for a press pass to the White House, you're not getting one. So kind of thing.
But that's the thing is because you're with an institution that's good, right? Your guys get to bring you that news.
That's fine. Yeah.
I want them to like. I want the people there. If you're going to create superstar reporters, right?
Yeah.
And I wasn't even thinking about this in terms of ranking. Then I was just like either pass fail, right? That's fine by me. But at the same time, if that works, then that also means that you can get superstar columnists, right?
Could I just don't know if people would actually pay for it. So that's your problem. So I mean, I
would they pay for it now?
I pay for very little media. I see no reason to actually pay for additional media. In fact, it's actually become a hard cap on how much media I can actually ingest.
All right.
Okay, which is fine. So like it helps me cull my Substack subscriptions and stuff like that. YouTube's free, so that's why I've got like fucking 800 channels to subscribe to.
You know what? And sometimes, Patrick, it feels free.
It is free.
It is free.
Yeah, it is free. It feels
free.
free. Yeah, no, that's fine. So yeah, I guess my argument against your system I'd actually take in the opposite direction. I'd want people to learn that all journalism must be taken with a grain of salt, all of it. So I mean, you don't need to know exactly what's going on right now. So I mean, and if that's what you want, then okay, fine, but just take it with a grain of salt. That that's going to be wrong. So,
but here's the problem: is at the very least, okay, I can trust that somebody who's gone through the public education system has at least been introduced to scientific method. But I don't think that there's zero cultural knowledge when it comes to disseminating, because we talked about this here when we were talking about scraping apart. This is about historical reform too, like we were talking about, right?
Yeah.
It's not taught. It's not. This is something that either you have to, like, somebody senseis you through this into teaching you the methods of disseminating news, right? Or this. Okay, so I can make this argument, Patrick. I'll make this argument, and you can totally disagree, right? So if you say that if this process here is like, why would they pay for it? Why is this a good thing instead of just taking it with a grain of salt? All right. If in theory, okay, the purpose of this is to say, all right, can we get people to vote or take actions on the things that actually matter, right? Basically to separate themselves from their emotional charge by saying, all right, well, see, that's the thing. You're shaking your head right there. Okay. Now, you can argue that this is a human nature thing, but I could also argue that if people are going to go out there and vote, right, and they can actually get news from news sources, right? So if I can improve the quality of actual news, and keep me in mind that not everybody has the ability or method to thumb through all the shit and say, like, all right, I'm going to disseminate everything that's right from wrong, right? If they can actually trust a headline, okay, so it's believable, I think you might actually see better results.
Oh, you might, yeah. I mean, we've had that in the past, so you can take a look. There's probably about a good 30-year block of journalism there that was actually pretty good. So up until Watergate, maybe a little bit after. That didn't necessarily produce better outcomes. So You know,
Debatable. I mean,
it is
the thing
debatable,
is-
but
is-
I mean,
is-
like, there's other events that occur. Like, everybody understood the threat of nuclear war because the people in charge had all lived through World War II. So,
Yeah.
you know, like, some of them very intensely, like Eisenhower, you know. So, I mean, Khrushchev for sure, he was trapped in Stalingrad. So they kind of knew, you know. And so, you know, I don't know how much the news actually has an effect upon like their decision-making process, or let alone that of the American voter. I mean, you're talking like 1962, where everybody saw Kennedy on TV and just said, "Oh, that guy's handsome."
Totally understand.
So
Yeah.
I mean, I don't begrudge the reason why people vote. So you can vote, you can flip a coin and vote. That's fine. So if that's your method, fine. So, you know, I mean, that's the fact that, you know, like 335 million people in this country, and what, probably 180 to 200 million of them are, I don't know. How many people voted in the last election? I think it was like 75 million, wasn't it? was lower.
No. The votes were 81 million to 77 million.
Okay, so 150 million. Okay, so I was actually, I was closer than I thought. So there we go.
No, you were half.
Well, I said 150 million.
Oh, I thought you said. Oh, all right.
Yeah, no, I thought there was 75, but you're right. That was just one side.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
no, you're right. So my initial inclination was more correct. So you get about 150 million active voters in the United States. I mean, and they still come within 10 million votes of each other. That's a pretty hard needle to move, man. So, you know, and I don't really know, like, if more accurate reporting or like actually better civics classes, you know, is a better solution to that. I don't know, man.
So let me present you this scenario, right? In terms of what we're talking about here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if the purpose of this, right, and this is, you know, where I'm coming from, if the purpose of this is basically a service to give the casual viewer, right, the confidence to believe what they see or read.
That'd be nice.
Okay, and the only reason I say this here is, look, this is something that Gavin Newsom said he was going to move around. Well, there was a little like ad that was being passed around like a couple of days ago that had Kamala Harris AI generated stuff in it, right?
Ugh.
It was speech.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's gonna happen here real soon.
here's the
A lot
problem,
more
Patrick.
often.
Okay, this is what I'm saying is, if you have something out there, you know, part of this, and again, I wasn't just future-proofing this, but if the reality is here,
Yeah.
right? If you have people basically like believing something because they heard it, right? And they're only disseminating news in a heartbeat, right? This is something that, hey, at least that gives a greater possibility of giving people a quick look at the truth with just all they can afford.
Yeah. Maybe. No, I don't think it's a bad idea, man. So, I think the dark forces are going to outrun any attempt to tame them.
Well,
Especially with AI, man. It's coming. I mean, it is like.
stop moving the fucking grease around on your glasses here.
Oh, no, that was just dust,
clean up.
but sure.
Oh, okay. Like, God, man, you're just spreading the mess. I hate when I do that. But
No, I don't know, man. I don't really know how much. And I mean, we've done this before. So I mean, you know, like we've had like entire wars get fought because of bad journalism. So
Right,
it's happened
okay.
like twice. So
yeah.
you know, and people weren't stupid back then. You know, they knew that they were getting sold schlock. So, you know,
No doubt.
yeah, and
Andrew Jackson was famously
Andrew Jackson was very good at that.
hated newspapers.
Yeah.
Um,
So, and I mean, I just don't know I don't know how much it's actually going to matter here soon, man. I think there's bigger things that are kind of like driving stuff, and
well,
I don't think journalism is the progenitor of that, shall we say?
what
So,
I'm trying to prevent
certainly
here
doesn't help though.
Yes,
I agree.
that-
Yeah, I agree with you.
is basically personalities alone politics, where if you can't trust any of the facts, the only thing that you can go on is like, oh, I kind of like this guy, right?
Yeah.
And again, I would argue that even when you do have the facts, I think, like, you still, when you go in the booth and you have to select somebody, I think that's the thing that your gut tells you. I think there's like, well, I kind of like this guy, or, and the same thing. Again, I didn't like Hillary on paper either, but at the same time, I still was struck with the, situation of, I hate you. I hate you as a human being.
Yeah. I can't do it, man.
It's not just I can't do it. It's like, I don't like you. I think you'd ruin Thanksgiving. I think, like, it's just... it's like, would you shut up with your bullshit? And I understand that that's a reality of it. But anything that I could do to basically like stem, like, this is the same. This is one of the things that, again, take it for what it's worth, because again, it's cherry picked. Not everybody that they show on this, but I mean, they were doing interviews like with the people who went to the Kamala Harris the rallies, right? They were asking, on the exit, they were asking people, it's like, hey, tell us one thing about her policies that you like.
Yeah, they can't do it right now. She doesn't have any.
Well, and listen, I understand that there are people who, I guarantee you there were people that could look at it and say, like, you know what? I'm glad you asked, because she did this then, put a whole ton of these people in jail, and that's it, right? And so I know that the results were skewed in terms of, like, we probably excised some people. But if you're going to a rally for this person, you should have at least one thing is be like, well, she didn't do this, but she says she's going to do this, and I really like it. They didn't have anything.
No, they just hate Donald Trump.
That's what I'm talking about.
She could be a ham sandwich and she still get votes just because of that. So, that's a thing. That's a real thing. So,
it is.
Yeah.
It is. But I'd love to, even if you could grab 5 of those people and say, like, you know what? I'm not just going to look at this on personalities. These are the things that I've seen this person do. And because it's been honestly reported, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I'm sure there's outlets out there that are doing that,
They are making money then.
Yeah, probably not. So, yeah, that's the problem. So,
Yes, there is a profit motive here. So
there's obviously there's bad profit motive, but you don't want to build a ministry of news. So either.
No.
Yeah, I get it, man. It's almost an intractable problem. So, there's a piece of it that is definitely, I mean, so a lot of people are just going to vote for, like, well, I don't like his hair, or I don't like her suits or something. A lot of people do that, because it's a stand-in, and quite honestly, the election doesn't affect them all that much. So,
right.
I mean, people are really into the issue, and this is the thing that I'm kind of it's on my radar. So, like, regardless of which side loses this fall. So there are going to be a lot of people who are just completely defeated. So on one side or the other, man, and it's just going to be like, because it's like the end run of it, like it's basically Trump versus BLM at this point in time, and so like one of those two things is not going to survive the next year. So
BLM called out Kamala Harris.
Well, that's not really what I mean by that. I don't mean the actual organization. I mean, the idea that identity politics is actually really important and central to how we govern the country. So that's probably not. Yeah. I mean, my money would be on that one losing. So, but I mean, it's possible. It's absolutely possible that Donald Trump, and this is the end of right-wing populism as we know it. Because if he goes down, he's going to take down J.D. Vance with him, who is the torchbearer of that. And you're going to get Nikki Haley back. So, or some version, or we get Ron DeSantis back. Whatever, I don't know. But if Donald Trump doesn't win the election this fall, the Republican Party is going to be different than it is now. So it's probably going to be a lot more chill. So, and the same thing's true if the Democrats lose this fall, they're going to have to chill out too. So, because there's going to be a lot of, fucking Tom Friedman types out there, like, I told you so, kind of thing. Yeah. So, it's like, we're the corporate centrist Democrat Party, and that's what we should be, kind of going on in the future. It's like, we're leaning too hard into this DEI stuff, and, like, seriously, Israel, you guys really feel that?
Bro, okay.
So that part's going to have to chill. One of these two things is going to be put to bed in the fall, and if people are voting based on like their hair, like people's hair or something, okay, fine. I mean, we've always decided elections that way. This one will be no different. It'll just, you know, and maybe like my hope for it is fundamentally like I've noticed, and I mean I'm pretty oblivious to some of these things, but I've noticed Google's like ability to put its thumb on my scale.
Yes,
It's like fucking
yes.
knock that off, man. People they're not responding well to that. And so
Well, it's in the same way. Like again, this was when Harris's her appeal at this one. She did the thing that is not going to win the when she opened her rally with a Megan Thee Stallion performance.
oh yeah,
right. Well, here's the thing: is
was she twerking?
of course,
Yeah,
of course,
it's not gonna work.
this
Man.
is-
It's so cringe.
this is the thing: is the people that you're hoping to sway, okay, are not the people who are moved by that, because these are the people that are already like, everyone in Hollywood is fucking retarded. I'm sick. Like, listening to these people through the pandemic was insufferable.
It was insufferable, and we're all sick of it. And if they start showing, then like the more George Clooney's that we see out there, like they had that call the other night with
the Obamas.
no, not the Obamas,
Because that was the fakest shit I ever seen. Oh, who is this?
no, not that one. It was an actual Zoom call with like 100.
Oh, yes. And I saw
it had,
Adam Conover's dumbass there. Yeah.
Oh, you were on it?
Oh no.
Oh.
I saw the people who were there.
No, it had the Duke or the dude. What the fuck is that guy's name?
Well, Joseph Gordon-Levitt was there.
No, way more famous than him. So, fucking, goddamn, he's Hollywood royalty. he played John Wayne's character in the new remake of
True Grit.
yeah. Who the fuck is that?
Jeff.
That's not Jeff Daniels. It's fuck. His dad was super famous. His brother's famous. So
Yeah, he's in Tron. He's
the guy. Yeah, I know.
Tron Legacy. He's yeah.
Yeah,
you're
I'm
right.
drawing a blank on him too. So anyway, he was,
Daniels, but it's yeah. Anyway, yeah.
yeah. No, it's not Jeff Daniels.
It's not Jeff Daniels.
He wasn't in Dumb and Dumber.
But it's that other Jeff. It's
the other Jeff.
yeah.
Anyway, he was on there. So
Yeah.
he's way more famous than any of those other guys. So, and it's just it was like, okay, so we're gonna do it this way, man. And you know, so like I've got 80-year-old Hollywood actors scolding me again. So
Right.
about not living within 30 minutes of an ocean.
Right.
So you know, and I got it.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't want walkable cities. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But
So,
the
you know,
you're dealing with the environmentalists that wouldn't fly commercial to save their fucking lives.
correct. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's just like that. That's just not going to work. And the other thing is like this whole thing about TikTok and bringing up the younger generation. A younger generation has never determined an election ever. So ever, not a single foot, not even 2008. 2008, Obama won because he got a whole bunch of white people in the Midwest to say, actually, you know what? I don't have a problem with a black president, and you seem pretty cool. So here you go, buddy. And so, you know, it had nothing to do with like being white or male or female or anything like that. It was like, no, this is the blue collar part of the country, and we're gonna get you over the finish line. And those are people who are like in 40s and 50s, man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it wasn't the 18-year-olds in college, you know, running around and saying, oh, yeah, you know, so Megan Thee Stallion is on this thing. So I'm gonna... That's not going to carry it, dude. So it never has. So first of all, because the election's on a Tuesday, those people don't show up. And then second of all, you know, like a lot of them, they don't actually have a residence where they can register to vote. So, you know, or it's not in the state that they are from. And so it's just... election has never been carried by people under the age of 35 ever. So, and I guarantee
And it's not going to be this one.
it's not going to be this one. I guarantee you, my mom's going to vote just like everybody, just like all them college kids, but she's never going to see a TikTok video. You know? So
No, your mom's not your mom. If she saw some shit on TikTok, she'd think her phone was broken or something like this. It's like, I don't want to see this.
my mom was dead set on voting for Donald Trump, but she's going to totally do it now. So absolutely dead set against it. But she's like, nope. So last thing we need around here is more California. I was like, yeah, I got you, Mom.
Look, I'm not gonna fight you on that. Look,
that was verbatim. My mom's 84, and she will absolutely fucking vote. She got nothing else to do, man.
she will. Oddly enough, my mom will too. I mean, and she's. look, man, the bottom line here is like, when it comes down to it, any election, right? They always try to paint it out as, and yes, I understand it is complex, and I understand that there are people that are single issue voters, right?
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of them are, and a lot of them are, if it's not one, then it's two, right?
Right. Yeah, you got a top two.
Right, and there's maybe like three things that are going to be big deals this November, and they're similar big deals, but they're not the same big deals as always. The ones that are going to be, okay, so the economy is always going to be the same.
Yeah.
Right? And when it comes down to it, it's going to be like, how much does shit cost? All right?
It's not going to be cheaper this fall.
That's the thing. It's going to be cost.
The question is whether or not people have gotten used to it by then. So
I would argue no. But
maybe
that's the thing.
We'll
So you have that. Immigration is going to be the other one.
Immigration's a huge one for anybody who doesn't live on the East Coast. So it is everywhere else. It is a big fucking deal. And, like, it's one of those things they keep glossing over, but when you see these interviews with, like, normies out there,
yes,
this is the big fucking deal. So this is the thing, is like, yeah, like, because they closely link immigration to crime, which is false. But it feels true.
Yes and no.
Yeah, it depends on what subset you're talking about.
Yes.
If you're talking about the give-ups, no, it's not a thing. If you talk about the gotaways, yeah, it's totally a thing.
Right.
And so you do have to kind of slice that cake carefully in order to be close to the truth on the issue. So, and a lot of people just aren't, they're not that vested in it. And then, so the immigration one is a big deal. It's a very, very big deal. So
yeah, it's going to be those two, and the third issue, right? And again, this is going to be like, I think this is the one that's going to be talked about. It's a broad issue, and it has everything to do with basically like id poll. So everything that identity politics. So everything that goes into.
I've never heard that term. So,
okay. Id poll, yeah. So everything that
came up with that.
That's been around.
Really?
That's been around for.
It sounds like a poli-sci term.
It sounds like actually it sounds like something from the fucking glossary of 1984. But the thing is, that's a blanket catch-all term for BLM, for DEI, for everything that falls into that. Basically, like. Everything that goes into like trans, everything like that, that's going to catch into there, right? And that's like 12 micro issues, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying like that is a big deal, but not in isolation with the thing like.
Yeah, I would put that to number 4 behind crime. So I would actually take crime as a separate issue from immigration.
I have a hard time divorcing crime from immigration. I think a lot of people see those as different.
Well, it depends, because like if you live in a high crime neighborhood in Chicago, it doesn't have anything to do with immigration, and you know that. Okay, so it has everything to do with lack of economic opportunity, fucking shitty, DAs who don't prosecute crimes, and Well, but she's kind of like, it's like, you're gonna run one of those, yeah. But anyway, well, I think crime's actually a separate issue. So
for me, yes, I would agree. I'm just talking about like what most voters are going to see it as.
Maybe.
But that being said. All of those things, are not things that Kamala Harris is good at, especially when it comes to immigration.
No, she's real bad.
When you come down to it and say, like, well, I know that Axios is trying to scrub this, but you were put in charge of this.
Sorry, that was written in ink. Sorry, buddy. Like, you can color in the holes and the B's and stuff, but you still know what they are.
A D turns into a B so easily.
Right, yeah, exactly.
You got greedy.
Greedy. So,
and that's the thing is those big issues this time are not something that are split. That I say like these things are better on your side. This shit all happened under your watch.
No, I think the Republicans are very, very strong on all the issues. The question is, will Donald Trump fuck it up? He might very well. So he's very good at that.
Well, here's the thing. He had that interview today with and
the crowd was laughing with him.
This is the
weird,
thing.
Man. They were all telling me, "Oh, he dropped these horrible gaps," and I watched it, and the guys are all laughing with him. I'm like, what video are you guys watching?
That was the thing.
That was weird, man.
Exactly half the people were like, what are you talking about? He's putting it to her.
Yeah.
And the other side, like, this is an embarrassment. It's like, this is a breach of decorum. I'm like,
yeah, no.
fuck, it's like, this isn't even like
I don't think that's a good
psychological
line of
test.
attack for him, though. So, I mean, he'll do what he's going to do, man. I mean, nobody tells that guy what to do. So,
Well, okay, this is what I'm discovering about Donald Trump, okay? Is I think he's weaker when he has people around him that are going to throw him softballs or just let him talk. I think he's weaker at this, okay? I think Donald Trump's best moments, okay, is when he has the chance to do a little bit of verbal judo, right? Because when it comes down to it, you and I both know this.
Yeah.
He's a huckster. He is a showman.
but he's different than he was 8 years ago, man. He's definitely lost a step on that stuff. You know, like
I'm not gonna fight you on that. No.
His rallies like oscillate between very low energy and kind of like the old angry Trump that none of us like. So you know, it's like, bro, just put it, you know, like it. Just put it down the middle. You know, I mean, you know, I mean, Kamala Harris, she's already trying to beat you to the middle ground on a lot of issues. Fucking just, you know, you got two uprights, you got to split them. Just do it. So, I mean, that's the point. And, you know, when he gets a little bit too low energy, people are like, oh, yeah, I forgot, he's 80, where he's about to be. Yeah. And then when he gets whole high energy, he's like, yeah, actually, that's the guy that I didn't like and I voted against last time. So, you know. Yeah, he's got a huge opportunity here to play it cool, and if he just plays it cool, he's gonna win. But I don't know if he can do that, man. So,
well, I mean, my argument here is you have a couple of things here that you don't even really have to push. Your campaign managers can do this for you, right?
Let them do
So
their jobs.
there are some things here that are big deals, right, that you can say and are absolutely true. Because when we came down to it, you and I both know that Joe Biden was a compromised candidate.
Yeah.
Right? They saw him as more electable than Bernie Sanders, right?
Oh yeah. That was engineered.
Correct.
Well, but it was engineered by Joe Biden, so you know,
Yes.
we know who the they is in that case.
Yes,
It's him.
So
And Bernie like went along with it.
Bernie folded. He could have.
That's because he genuinely likes Joe Biden. So that's real. So Joe Biden's like the only guy in the Democratic caucus who was nice to Bernie for 30 years. Somebody else saw him as an aberration. He's a weird piece of furniture that you put in a closet, you know? So Joe Biden was actually nice to him.
There's some truth to that, yeah. I can see some people like the only things they'd say are like, oh, you see, you eat some weird shit around the holidays. Yeah?
Exactly.
Does Santa visit your house?
Yeah, right.
No, but all right. So we know he was a compromised candidate, right? But what he ended up doing was he ended up bringing the most left person on that stage onto his team.
Yeah, he did.
Right. So everybody that
It was 100% political move.
well, and that's the thing.
It was just an operator move, man. He even
he said
said
he was gonna do it.
Yeah, he said he was going to pick a black woman. So before he even did, and so okay, fine, he did what he said he was going to do. You could nakedly see what he was doing. So, and I don't think he was trying to hide it. So
he said it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he said it.
Yeah.
But this is the thing: is when you go for the compromise candidate and you bring the most left person onto the card, and right at this point, this is a person who was not winning her primary, and this is the person that's been put
Less
up.
than 2% of the vote, man.
You have
So
you have an extreme compromise of people like, well, it's not that the people that were necessarily Biden like were in for her. As a matter of fact, they didn't like her.
you know,
But now they're saying like, well, I wanted him. Now I got you.
they're not happy with that.
And one of the things
There's
that
a lot of people are, but there's a lot of people who didn't want him and are happy with her. So it's almost like
it's like a trade-off.
yeah, it's like everybody
like
got on different sides of the subway, you know. So
no,
like,
it's you go on there and basically like you take your you got to reduce your fractions on the equations and say like it's like
what you must do to one side, you must undo to the other.
yeah, you're not going to come in here and tell me the answer is like fucking 48 is 2x. I'm going to mark you off for this, right?
Yeah.
So you got to go ahead and cancel all these things out.
Show me your
right?
work.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what's weird is she's trying to pull this move, like you said, towards center. Center is not what she's been saying for the past.
I understand. That's why, like, I'm telling you, man, Donald Trump should go to his rallies and he should do the old man shtick, you know, where he's like, I love you guys, you know, and that kind of stuff. Not do the attack dog stuff. Just put videos up of what she fucking said. That's all you got to do.
Yes.
That's all you got to do. You don't got to go out there and say, oh, well, she's not really black. It's like, you idiot. So,
Well, he's mirroring that because black people have been saying.
I understand that. You
But
don't
yes.
fucking say that. All right. So you just cost yourself another news cycle, son. So, and everyone that costs you gives her a free win. Stop that. So, you know, just go out there and play more golf. All right. Do more rallies where you shake hands with kids. Okay. Or show up at, like, you know, like fucking scouting events or something. Whatever.
Yeah, no, I need more shots of you at Dairy Queen buying the place up, man.
All you need to do is appear human and people will vote for you. All right. Because everybody was told that you were Hitler. And then obviously you're not. So, you know, just fucking be normal for a while and actually go out there and just be Donald Trump. Don't be angry Donald Trump, because that's the guy that people vote against.
You have a solid point, and frankly, all you have to do is just to let the speech alone of Ukraine is a country.
It's a little
Russia is
country.
a
Yeah,
country.
the big countries eat the little countries.
Dude, you got books of these things. You got
God, that's dumb. So, yeah, I know. Yeah, you can totally do that, even though she gave, like, a record low number of interviews as a vice president. You got more than enough material to work with. And so, you know. Yeah, you just need to do that, and
that's how I
you'll
pull
be
it.
fine. That's how I do it. But, again, like, Donald Trump is who he is. Nobody tells him what to do. He could very well fuck the whole thing up. So,
he could.
Yeah.
He could. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't. Right now, I'm not saying that this is an organized thing, but there are a lot of guys, like Google included right now, that are trying to basically, they're trying to make things look different and better. And I think there's a lot of people that are sort of, I don't want to say manipulating, but there is some of this here where it's like, yes, you are kicking the ball on the green, and you're trying to make things look better than they are.
I don't think people are buying it. I really don't.
I don't either. I think this is like on the ground level. I think people are like, my ass.
Yeah, more George Clooney, please. So, yeah, so it's like, that's exactly what I want.
And they're showing like poll results. It was like, actually, there's ones where she's winning. I'm like, I don't believe you. I don't
buy those either.
No.
So, I mean, you won't, and like, I'm sorry, Joe, I've just been ignoring the polls because, you know, I understand how aggregate polling works. We won't have a good poll until September. So we'll see where we're at in September.
Fair enough.
So, you know, but I mean, the race is only 2 weeks old at this point in time. So, you know, there's no way you can get good polling. And then on top of it, like, Donald Trump has this magic ability where when people ask, you know, are you going to vote for him? And they say no, but then they do. So, which pollsters have not been able to tease out. There's a couple guys who've done a pretty good job of that. So, but they are not guys who are active on Twitter, man.
But dude, like, you can't. I get it. There are some people that have been like void comping testing like fucking potential Trump voters, and like actually getting them to reveal their secrets.
No, they're not going to do it.
But there are a lot of people who are they're gonna say what they want to say, and they're still gonna. They're gonna hammer the Trump button when they're behind closed doors.
A lot of people will. So you know, if you look at some of the polling's a little bit more accurate than others because, you know, they're careful about sample sets and they don't do like, oh, let's just call people, you know, kind of thing.
Right.
So, or hey, you know, let's do this online poll and record your IP address and not realize that VPNs defeat all of that immediately. So yeah, you know. So you got to be like one poll had her up 11 points in Michigan yesterday, and even people that I know who are a little bit lefty, they were like, no, you cannot buy that one. You know, it's like it's obviously a compromised scam or sample, or, you know, like this one's actually being done by a PAC that supports, and I mean that both sides do that. So it's like on the right, you don't listen to Rasmussen, they're bullshit. So they do this exact same thing. And then on the left, it's like, okay, don't listen to that one. So they got YouGov polls. Don't listen to those. Those are garbage. Man. So, you know, so. And it's just, it'll come down to it. It's like there's still 2 months of race left. So, or almost 3. So was it August, September, October? Yeah, about 3.
Yeah.
And there's at least 2 more shoes that are left to drop. So she's got to name her vice presidential candidate soon. So I don't think any of them matter. So in fact, most of them said I don't want to do it because they realize that this is the second seat in the fucking kamikaze plane. So, so and then like that's a whole nother month. There might be another debate. There might not be. There might be. I mean, Harris has never been thoroughly vetted.
No.
Yeah, and
No.
so like. And I'm telling you, like you say, the mainstream media is all rallying for it. Fox News ain't. So the Daily Beast ain't. They're gonna find something, man. So
Well, her secrets are out there. Fucking the relationship that she had with Willie Brown out there to advance her career is out there. This is
yeah,
not.
but that's been out there for a long
knowledge.
time. That's been.
I agree,
That one's
but
been known for a long time. That was before she was even in Washington. People knew about that.
that's correct. But I mean, like
So,
this is stuff.
I think that's water under the bridge. So
It's not supposed to be. It's
I
not.
get that, but come on, man. I mean, something that happened to you 20 years ago doesn't fucking sink you as president anymore. Donald Trump is living fucking proof of that.
Listen, okay. Hold
He's
on.
the first president to have more than one divorce. Yeah, and it was no big deal. So,
Yes, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But at the same time, you're not supposed to be a woman basically saying that I am where I am because of Me Too, because I took advantage of that.
well, she didn't Me Too Willie Brown.
No, but basically the other.
I thought that was completely consensual, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. Again, this is the thing. You're not supposed
He
to
was
be.
married though, I think.
Her story now is that they were separated at the time.
Him and his wife.
Yes.
Well, someone should just go ask him. I mean, he's not dead yet.
No,
He's pretty close.
No,
but-
but this is what I'm saying. It's like, again, this is no mystery. You're not supposed to be the person that comes out there and say like, you can tell the story of basically like saying that you're a Weinstein survivor, right? But you're not supposed to come out there and say like, be the person that's like, yes, I benefited from this.
yeah, but
Future ladies of America, I'm gonna tell you not to do this, but I wouldn't be here if I wasn't fucking Willie Brown.
my God, Jeff, you found hypocrisy in the presidential candidate.
All right. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I turn out my pockets. Yeah, you got me.
You got me,
It's like,
buddy.
you got me stealing. No, you're right. But in terms of, look, man, I'm just pointing out the things that for me would make you an easy mook. I'm like, you are
Maybe, yeah.
the simplest targets to shoot down.
I'm just saying that I think there's got to be some things out there that we don't know about already, okay, that are going to be bigger fucking deals. So, because then it'll at least be new. So, and I don't know, man. You can't find shit about what she did as vice president, okay. So,
I would argue that she didn't do anything. I mean, I think
possible.
that's the.
well, I mean, if she was sitting there like they were talking about her playing solitaire for like 3 solid years. Come on, man. Okay, let's see her log files. Let's do that. That's a story. So yeah, but yeah, well, and then international stuff is getting weird. So there's a lot of weird shit going on.
Yes, there is. There's a promised reprisal.
With what?
Iran.
Yeah, that'll be and I can see the Israelis poking the bear in order to get in a war. So
Hey, they killed that guy.
they killed 2 guys. So they got
One of them was the #1 guy.
well, he
So-
was Hamas, and they killed the I think it was like I don't know if he was the #1 guy of Hezbollah, but he was pretty big. So they actually killed him in fucking Beirut, and then the other guy they actually got him in Tehran somehow. So yeah, I don't know how they did that. I'm waiting for the details on that one.
He should have been hanging out there.
No, Jeff, that guy should be in jail. He should be in an Israeli dungeon somewhere. Yeah. So getting ready to like have a Jewish version of Nuremberg here, man. So,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
no, I agree. So that one's weird. Ukraine's weird right now. So the Russians are Jeff, you need to talk to your Russian buddies. So I am very concerned that Russia is like fucking there are people that are about to starve to death. So it's awful, dude. So their food prices went up 30% in one fucking week last week. 1 week. Dude, it's going back to like it's going to go past the Soviet Union and go directly to North Korea status.
Dude, you're talking about you're on the verge of being in the position where instead of buying food, you will be assigned food.
That's exactly where they're going. Yeah. But they're not spending any money to maintain, like, I was, okay, so I do wander around in the swamps of Mordor known as the fucking dead marshes of
I know why you're there. Look,
I'm there for war porn, so I do have a little bit of a. It needs to be scratched from time to time. So
yes,
and there are like dams breaking, so there are villages that don't. I mean, these are farming. They don't have any water. They don't have any clean water. So there's like an entire stretch of Russia last week that had no electricity for a week. And this is the hot part of Russia where they actually do have air conditioners. Yeah, and now they don't even have refrigerators. It's like, what the...
You are talking about...
It is awful, man.
Areas of Russia at this point that I am convinced that dudes in armor and swords could conquer.
Yes, they probably could.
This is the level of medieval peasantry that they've reduced to in some of these areas.
Some of these places, yeah, they can't leave, so they don't have gas. So it's just, and he's going all in. He's like triple downing on like offering bonus payments to people in Moscow and St. Petersburg now, which he's never done before. Like,
because you need these places to run. Yeah.
No, these are for recruits for the war.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. So, because, like, and I mean, so I do watch the map shows. I just call them map shows. They show you the map, where Russian troops are on any given day and stuff. They're great. They're really good. They use, you can buy commercial satellite imagery. So
okay.
They do it every day.
Okay.
And they say, okay, we can see these guys here. And Russians are losing hundreds and hundreds of guys to take a fucking farm here and there because the Ukrainians have figured out, it's like, well, we can make drones for about $15 a piece. We just suicide your guys with those. So it's like, that's terrifying. So, but yeah, I guess if you want to take the country, you have to come get it. So it's bad, man. It's really bad. There's like not a Russian ship left in the Black Sea. They had to move them all away because they're using suicide speedboats on them.
Makes sense.
Yeah, no, they're clearing out all the mines so that the Russians mine the fucking ocean with. So I know it's just it's getting worse and worse, man. So yeah, I'm curious what your Russian friends have to say about their friends back home, man. If they have any left. So I don't know.
Well, okay, so my understanding is that the women are mostly fine. So when I talk to my Russian friends, they are talking about the women. The thing is, when they talk about the men that they know have been long gone.
They left
a long time ago.
They bolted. Yeah.
Well, because again, and most of these people were. You have to understand. This is the thing that sucks about this. Is what you're talking about, like the Moscow St. Petersburg thing, right? Mm. These are the people that have left. Okay, are the people that had Moscow St. Petersburg money.
Oh.
And it's not just the people that you need to go out there and take that shitty farm and get blown up by a fucking, $50. It's the money. Wow. It's the business they took, the capital that they took out of there that they're investing here. Yeah. Because the people I know that are doing this, they're all just venture capitalists, right? And they're all just
engineers and stuff.
Not even engineers. No. These are people that just like, what do you do? I make money with money.
Oh,
so
okay.
what I do, and the thing is, this is the shit that I'm hearing about like every week. It's like, it's like you go to a conference, like, what are these conferences for? It's like, you're not going to believe it. It's like, if you went to one of these things, you'd be so disappointed. It's like, why? It's like, you're right there in the middle of Tech Town. It's like, Tech Town is gay. This is
I've heard that.
So, when you go to these venture capital meetings, it's like, what are you actually looking to invest in? It's like, well, you might have one good idea in there.
A new app.
Well, so it's like, there was one app there, and she was telling me about it today. It's like, wow, that actually sounds useful. She's like, yeah, people snapped up on that. It's like, the other 100 ideas are take an app that already exists.
Yeah.
Make it shittier.
Put all kinds of tracking software in it, yeah.
Well, it's like, take something that exists, make it shittier, and show the world that you have no leadership behind it. Right. Because the person out here presenting it is this little wiener of a man.
Yeah.
It's like, that's all. And they're like, this is what the tech industry really is one great idea that everybody jumps on, may not even work.
And they flood it with money. So.
And then 99 imitators that don't have what it took to make the original run.
Yeah. I've heard that from other sources too.
I would. It's like she's like, and this is what my husband drags me to all the time. Here is
it's so boring.
And she says the reason that we have an edge here is because we are Russian speaking. So the Russians that do this, right? Because
you can speak with them.
Absolutely, right. So you have your pipeline to people that are robbing American ideas in Russian, right?
Oh, and I got it. Yeah, I see exactly how that's working.
Right. Yeah. Right. And so the one aspect that she has is she says, like, when this is the other angle that I have is because I speak the language.
Yeah.
I also have, with 5 phone calls, I have way cheaper labor to do this stuff than anybody here.
Yeah.
Because trust me, the shit that they're doing here isn't exactly rocket science.
No.
But I know people in Russia that I can hire right now that will do it for a quarter of the price.
We're people who fled to, like, Azerbaijan and stuff.
Yeah, because the last people, she talked about people, well, they were in Russia. Yeah. This is the part of Poland that they're in now or whatever. It's like the one difficult thing about this is I sleep weird hours because I have to call here.
That makes sense.
And when people break down the nuts and bolts, there's this, I don't know, you know this here, where sometimes you have this idea that an area or a person or a sector or a field is like just jam-packed full of like geniuses from head to toe.
It's like 5. Yeah. Yeah, I ran into that in academia. So it's kind of like, oh, wait, you're that guy.
What popped your cherry on that? What was the incident that made you say, like, this is not what I dreamed it was?
So the first time I mined down a subject at Bedrock, okay, where I was like, I'm gonna scrape this one down to Bedrock. All right, I want to know everything that anybody has said, and it's like the same 5 fucking guys. Yeah, and it's like that's it. That's all that's out there. I was like, okay, that makes sense. I thought there was like a legion of you guys that were working on this thing. So, and you were just the Centurion. No, it's you and your 4 buddies, and 3 of them are all at the same school. Got it. So yeah, it happens all the time, man.
It's a circle jerk?
Kind of, because, like, people, like, if you're working with other people and you see them every day, you tell what you're doing, oh, I can help with that kind of thing. It's not intentional, so it's convenient. So,
well, yeah. But yeah, that's...
there's, like, unless it's a huge topic that's really sexy and new and stuff like that, then it might have, a couple dozen guys on it. But if it's something that's really obscure, it's like 5 people work on that shit. So,
And what's amazing about this is it makes so much more sense now how your Theranos people can be so successful in this realm of...
They just buffalo the right people, and then they tell all their friends, and then you get a shitload of money, and then you produce a box that doesn't work, all right? But it's got nice fancy buttons on it, so...
You say, like, no, but look at that chick, she's wearing a turtleneck,
Oh, yeah, no, you go. Yeah, I see a fucking girl boss the hell out of, fucking Silicon Valley here. It turned out to be completely fraudulent, man. Like nakedly fraudulent. Yeah.
Look at you using a term that I used to reserve for myself. I hadn't heard you girl boss anything in a while, but...
Oh, no, that one.
I guess...
I read the book, Jeff. The book is horrifying. So, some of the stuff that chick pulled, it's just like... it's almost admirable because of how ballsy it is. So, it's like, you work in the middle of, like, some of the best universities in the United States, and they're calling bullshit on you, and you say that they don't know what they're talking about, and people believe you. That's awesome.
That's the amazing
that is
part.
Awesome.
Yes,
yeah.
That's the fucking Olympics thing that I wanted. Is you have to have the conviction.
You do. You have to lean into it, man.
Dude, and I'll end with this, I promise, because we need to wrap this up. But I mean, the funny thing was that, like, even at the sentencing, like at her trial, she almost got away from it because they're like,
oh, I got pregnant.
She looks so.
Oh, we don't want to separate her from her young kids. Yeah, the judge is like, yeah, I fucking will. Yeah. So, yeah.
And they were like, you know what? And we read, like, the messages and stuff. It's like, she really had a rough go with that guy that she was with.
To be fair, that guy was kind of shitty. So
Right.
Yeah.
But that being said, there's the door. She had there was like no obligation. It's like
she was the boss, not him. Yeah, she was the boss, not him.
yeah.
Yeah, he was number 2. She was number 1. So,
At
yeah.
any moment, you could be like, "Will this stop yelling at me? Get out of my house."
I don't think. No, he didn't really do that. So
Well, no, they said that he mistreated her,
yeah,
like verbally and like. Evidently, he treated her like crap. I guess this is why
Yeah.
it worked. Is like instead
well,
of, like,
and their
kissing her ass,
relationship
he
was like secret for a long time. Yeah, so
But evidently, he would not like kiss her ass or anything. He was just like
no,
fucking-
he'd stand up to her.
Yeah,
yeah.
And I guess that's why
He was the
it
only guy
worked,
he
yeah.
did, and that's
Yeah.
why they figured out that they were sleeping with each other.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So,
Oh, that's a fascinating story, man. So,
but that's that industry. That's I've
they,
learned so much.
They could fucking have it, man.
It's
It's all
what's the
yours.
lesson, man? It's just like
It was a bad season.
well, man, is it just like the glamour of so much shit like Silicon Valley, like Hollywood, all these places. I think I feel like when we were younger, there was a veneer of like glamour to this shit,
Oh, yeah.
and I don't know. Now that everybody knows how the sausage is made,
Yeah. You just get older and you start seeing it. He's like, realize, oh wait, that guy's pants go on one leg at a time too. So that guy probably he's fucked up a lot of things in his life, and then when you're there to witness a couple of them, it's like, yeah, he's human, got it. So
Yeah. yeah.
So I've noticed that more as I see like actors age out of Hollywood. You know, it's kind of like Clint Eastwood. It's like, man, that guy used to be like fucking invincible. You know, in my mind of like, you know. Like, why wouldn't you make a movie with Clint Eastwood? Because he told you no. So, you know, otherwise he would totally do, you know, he'd be the best guy for this role. And then now you see him and it's like, man, you old. I mean, like fucking Noam Chomsky old, man. So,
Well, yeah, it's
dude, that guy's melting before our eyes.
no, well, it's the same. It was like Max von Sydow,
Side out, yeah,
right?
him too.
Where he and Clint Eastwood had this thing. Same thing with like Captain Picard. Same thing with Patrick Stewart,
Yep.
where you got into a holding pattern where you looked older than you were when you were younger.
Right, and you stayed there for 40 years,
Correct.
and then you accelerated by 10. So,
Right.
in an afternoon.
Yeah, that is correct. That is
Yeah.
correct. Because
He's had a bad weekend. He came out like, "Whoa, man, you need a blankie." So, yeah.
as you see the last of that, every one of our hero actors all have that shuffling Mr. Burns walk. They do. They have that like hands forward, like trained, like.
I didn't really notice that until Joe Biden. I realized
He did
it.
it, like when I saw Madonna do that on her tour, I was
yeah.
like, oh my god! And you work out like this, like all the Pilates in the world couldn't save you.
No,
Yeah, and our guys are done. Our guys are
they're done,
like,
man. Yeah, like Harrison Ford. You know, he's done.
Harrison Ford is going to do a couple of Marvel movies now. I don't know how. He's 82. Like, remember when he broke his leg doing Star Wars and it fucking
Yeah.
delayed the movie like 6
Yeah.
weeks?
Yeah. God, they're making 2 more Acolytes too. I can't believe it.
No, they're not.
I saw that.
Uh-uh.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I'm glad that's not true then. So I thought they were
2
gonna,
more acolytes?
2 more.
Like shows or?
No, they're gonna make 2 movies that are based upon that universe or those characters.
They said they can't even like Leslie Headland begged social media today for a second season. She went out there and begged social media to like bother Disney to say make another season because as of right now they're not.
I don't think it was supposed to be a season. I think it was supposed to be a movie that was set in the same, because that takes place before Clone Wars.
You're talking about like High Republic shit?
I don't know. It said that
Alright.
these are part of the Acolytes, so I was like, well, I'll ask Jeff about it. So,
Well, okay, all right. So
all right, you've got
we're-
you're on assignment now. So,
All
hey,
right.
look at that, $1.58. That's not too bad.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
All right, I'm Pat.
I'm Jeffrey.
I'm hitting the button.
Yeah.